Hello, hello, friends. Welcome, welcome to Soul Talk. I have a question for you. Have you ever looked at your life and thought, why does this keep happening to me? Just had a conversation today about this exact thing. Why does this keep happening to me? Same situation, same pattern, same outcome, um, different people, but kind of the same feeling. And maybe if you are asking other people, or maybe if you've gone to a reader that maybe is not in integrity and alignment, maybe you've had the thought, maybe I'm cursed. Maybe someone has said something to you like that, like, gosh, there's sure something, these things always happen bad to you. Or maybe you have something on you. Maybe there's an attachment. Maybe there is a curse. I don't know. It just keeps staying with you in your mind, right? And in your body. You keep thinking about it and feeling about it. And that oftentimes gets to a place where you start wondering, gosh, maybe there is something going on. And it feels heavier than that for a lot of people. Like you're carrying something that isn't yours. Or maybe the question is, I have an attachment and you don't know if that's real or not. Is it real? Is it fear? What is it? Where is it coming from? And so today we're going to talk about that because after 25 years of doing this work professionally, what I can tell you is that there is a lot of talk around curses, a lot of questions, a lot of fear around entities and attachments. And most people, number one, do curses exist? Do people put curses on people? Yes. They put cast spells on people? Yes. But most people aren't cursed. They're just disconnected to their knowing, to their power, to their strength. And once you understand the difference, everything will start to change. So today on Soul Talk, we're going to explore curses. Are they real? What does it mean if someone says that you have one? The truth behind entity attachments, why maybe you feel heavy or drained, and how to take your power back. This is a conversation about coming back to yourself. Let's get started.
So self-service, that's the way. Welcome to Soul Talk, shine today.
All right, friends, welcome to Soul Talk, where spirit meets real life. This is a space for real conversations, conscious choice, and choosing light, even when life is heavy, messy, uncertain, or tender. I'm Dawn Johnston. I'm so happy to have you here. And let's take a breath, call on our spirit team, and let's get present. Y'all ready? This is a conversation that's important. It's a question that I get asked so many times. And it's something that activates so much fear in people. And so today we're going to explore all of this. It's such an important conversation right now. And I hope that you are ready to dial it in. So, first, I want to say hello to my friends that are in the chat. So, come on in and say hello. Let me know that you're with me. Let me know you can hear me and you can see me. And we are all good to go as we get started today. All right. Okay, friends, let's see. I want to say hey to all of you too. Helen, good to see you from Ireland. Susan, great to see you. Cindy, Brandy, Judy, Karen, Kathy, Shelley, awesome to see all you beautiful souls joining us on Facebook or YouTube, or maybe you're right here in the studio with us. Remember, if you have a question when we get to our heart to heart, you can ask your question and come right on camera with me if you'd like. That'd be a great option. I'd love to see you there. All right. So we are going to get started, friends. So happy to be with all of you today. So here we go. What is, this is an important question and one that I think we tend to struggle with a lot. What does it mean if you have a spell on you? And And not only what does it mean, but what do people think that it means? Because what people think it means and what it means, I think, are two different things, right? And so let's talk about that. Have you ever, many of you are on live with me right now. Have you ever had the experience of having somebody say, well, you're cursed? You've got a curse on you, obviously. And this is something that's really common. I cannot tell you how many times, and I'll share some stories with you in a few minutes about this. But I think that so often what has really happened is that people are starting to dive in to this deep sense of fear that they have no control, right? That they are not capable of being in control of their life. And this is something that actually is what would make me nervous, is feeling like I have no control in my life. And so when we talk about curses, it's the idea that people um, have the power, literally, that people have the power to affect you, to affect your life, to affect your entire um, experience in life in a way that you literally have no control over. And I want to start by saying this is not true. Okay. It's not true. Does that mean that people don't have any power, and that thoughts and words and curses and all those things are not real? No. I do think it's real. I think a lot of people have um, uh, intention around um, creating more fear for people. And people often will say, I feel cursed. But usually what they mean by that is nothing's working right in my life, or I feel blocked, or life is feeling super heavy, or these bad things keep happening to me. And in our mind, we're trying to explain it. We're trying to make it make sense. And so we reach outside of ourselves. But a curse in the way that people kind of perceive it is something that's placed on you and it's working against you. And what I want you to recognize is there's a lot of belief systems um, that talk about curses. But what I've seen more often is that it's not that anything's being done to you. It's more that something is happening and you are connecting it to that fear. Whether that's a pattern, whether that's certain situations that keep happening over and over again, whether it's energy that you're carrying, whether it's um, unprocessed emotions and feelings, and could even be just a disconnection from your intuition. And the reason that this is so important is because if you, and I want you to hear this, so please note this, if you believe that something has power over you, you give your power away. And we've got to get to a place where that's not okay. I'm not like being able to say, "Yep, I'm not available for that." That is not true for me. You're not here to be overpowered. You are absolutely here to learn and to grow and to be aware. Now, this isn't something that I've just heard stories about. Over the years, being in this field as a psychic medium over the last 25 years, I've had many clients come to me, and I've sat with them in this place of fear and this place of disempowerment, where actually the clients have come to me literally terrified because someone told them that they had a curse on them, or that they had an attachment, that there was an entity attachment to them. And they believed it. And, you could feel it in their body, how, um, how powerful it was and how much energy they were losing to the belief of that. And unfortunately, in the circumstance that, when I think about some of them that come to mind, one of the circumstances was they literally felt so much tightness and fear and disconnection in their body that they they couldn't get it out of their mind. They're like, this has to be real. And so then those years of fear just built up and built up and built up. And what we discovered as I sat with some of these people, and we kind of just slowed everything down, and we kind of took a step back, and we uncovered some of the experiences they'd had. What we started to realize is that the external circumstance that they thought was the curse wasn't actually controlling them. It was the fear that was controlling them. And years of not trusting themselves and not trusting their intuition, and years of absorbing the energy of the people around them and giving their power to some of these people that had told them that this particular thing was affecting them, that it was bad, that it was wrong, etc. And so I thought I'd share a couple of stories um, that I can recall just kind of off the top of my head that maybe you can relate to, especially if you are somebody who is listening right now, whether you're listening live or you're listening to the recording, and you're one of those people that has been told that. And if you are, let me know in the chat that maybe you've questioned it yourself, or you've actually had somebody tell you, hey, maybe you have an attachment, maybe you have a curse, and kind of planted those seeds. Because I'll tell you what, there's not, I'm pretty chill, like I'm pretty easygoing, but man, does it piss me off when especially people that are in my field use their other people's vulnerabilities and use their ability and their trust to take advantage of people. And that's actually what I've seen in many of the experiences that people came to me where they felt like they were cursed or had an entity attached to them. And so I thought I'd share a couple of them with you. One of them was actually somebody that was very close to me, and she had a friend of hers that wanted to take her to a psychic in downtown Phoenix. Uh, they were just driving by, and she's like, "Oh, let's go here." And the person that was close to me was like, "No, I'm not really into that, like because she knows me, and so she's like, if I want any of that, I can just go to Sunny." But the friend was like, "No, this would be fun, and it'd be good to get a different insight or what have you." So against her own intuition. So she felt like, nope, I'm not interested in this. Okay. That was her intuition. But against her intuition, because her friend was kind of pushing, she's like, okay. So she went in and they sat down with this particular person. And, and after doing 45-minute reading or whatever, she said, "Ooh, I believe that you have a curse on your family. Your family is cursed." And the friend said, "Why do you say that?" And she goes, "All the males in the family will be cursed with something. But if you want to have that curse removed, then you can do this, that, and the other, money, to have the curse removed." And for this particular person, the reason that triggered her so much, and the reason that it really affected her, was because several of the men in her family had issues. One had a heart issue. One had died young in his 50s. One was born with Down syndrome. And it's not that there weren't other men in the family, there were, but this is what she connected to. Now, she also knew me very well. So she came home and she called me and we talked about it, and I helped to redirect her. But even somebody that has the awareness, that knew, like she said, her whole body was like tight and tense, like she knew that it wasn't true. But because she heard it long enough and over, and because it fit with some of the circumstances that her family members had had, she bought into it and it scared the shit out of her, right? And she was literally thinking about taking the actions that this psychic that is completely out of integrity suggested for her to do, buy this $200 candle and go and take it to this particular place and light it on this particular day and say these particular words, and then the curse will be released. Okay, just think about that for a minute. The power that it had over her, right? I remember another client coming to me, and this was an older lady who was on like Social Security. She was just barely getting by herself. And she went to a psychic that was in the North Phoenix area. This one really pissed me off. And they told her that she had a curse, and that if she went to the desert at this particular day, on this particular time, she would find a rock that looked like this. And if she left, I can't remember if it was 300 or $400 under the rock. And she lit a white candle afterwards, and she prayed um, for uh, resolution, that then the curse would be taken away. And this woman didn't, the reason that she was struggling so much, not because she wouldn't have done it, but she didn't have the money to do it. And she contacted my office and just asked for my help. And so I asked her to just come in free, like, let me help you. And then obviously I did some work with her to help her to see what was happening. So these are some of the kinds of situations. And oftentimes it is a suggestion, a seed that is planted that then is watered by the person that receives it. And then they make more money, because that's where power is if you don't think you have power, you're going to do whatever you can to get that power back. It's disgusting, right? It's so harmful and so hurtful. And so what I learned was that, the challenge here is that we have to help people learn how to trust themselves, learn how to recognize when they're giving their power away, and then begin to change their energy and their belief systems so that they recognize that there's nothing that's being removed from them, but they are beginning to reconnect with that power within themselves that nobody can take away if we don't let them. And so, what I want you to recognize is, just because somebody says something doesn't make it true, but your belief in it, your embodiment of it, can absolutely then cause you to start seeing through a different lens that makes you start to begin to see it in that particular way. And so let's go a little bit deeper than that. If someone came to you today, you ran into somebody, whatever, and they tell you that you have a curse on you, the first thing I would want you to do is I'd want you to take a step, take a breath, take a pause, and then I'd want you to put your hand on your heart. Okay. Because statements like that create fear very, very quickly. And fear is what disconnects you from your power. fear is what disconnects you from your power. And so I want you to hear this. And it's so, so important that you embody it and that you know it and that you believe it and that you feel it. So if you're watching right now in the comments, let me know, yes, I believe that. Yes, I know that. Yes, it's true. And here it is. No one has more authority over your energy than you do. No one. Not me, not your spouse, not your parent, not your child, not your sibling, not your best friend, not your boss. No one. And if something doesn't feel right, when someone says something to you, listen to that. Because there are people, now we've got like the the crooks and the cheaters and the liars and the people that are just trying to take advantage, the charlatans that pose as psychics just to get you to, give them more money. And so there's that level of person, which, bleh. But then there are also people who actually don't realize the power that their words and the seeds that their words are planting, and that they actually might genuinely believe in what it is that they're saying. And so there are also people that are operating from that space. And then of course there are people that are operating from fear. And what, regardless of where it comes from, that message, if you allow it, it sticks in your system. And not because it's true, but because you took it in, right? You took it in, you listened, you absorbed it. And so we've got to recognize, okay, what can we do then? So let's say that's happened. Somebody suggests that. I don't want you to push against it. I don't want you to panic. I just want you to come back to, okay, how do I really feel? What do I know as true? What is true for me? And reclaim your energy and reclaim your power. So let's hear in the chat if you've had that experience, or you recognize that, or you know that is true. What is that like for you when that happens? Do you feel that push? When somebody tells me something and I know it's not true, I feel it in my body. And I could have the awareness of, gosh, that would be scary if I believed it. But I'm always going to stand and believe in my guidance and my intuition over and above anybody else, anything else. And I want to suggest the same thing for you. Now, how about attachments or entities that are around you? Let's talk about that and what's really going on there. So that's a big one, right? It's like people will say, well, you've got an entity attached to you. So some people are talking about that as like a disembodied spirit. Some people are talking about that as like a dark soul. Could be some people will term it like a devil type of energy. There's lots of different beliefs, lots of different ways people will hear it, but this is something I also hear. And again, we're going to shift out of the fear. And I just want to bring this into your understanding. When somebody says you have an attachment, or I feel like I have an attachment, because I've had clients that have come because somebody else told them they had an attachment, or they had a darkness, or they had an entity or something like that. But I've also had people come to me that have just felt like they had the attachment, like there's something I can't get rid of. Like there's this darkness, this heaviness that's attached to me that I can't release. And what most people are meaning when they say that is they're saying, I have this heaviness. I have this emotional overwhelm, this fatigue, this confusion, this energy that doesn't feel like me. And it's challenging because there aren't really words for this, right? They don't really have a language for it. So then the mind says, okay, it's got to be some form of attachment. But more often than not, what I've seen is that it's usually um, one of two or three different things. The first one is that there is um, people are holding on to a lot of unprocessed feelings and emotions, especially if they've had a recent circumstance or situation, grief, fear, anger, and the emotions are there. The body, they haven't moved through the body, so they're stuck in the body. So that creates that density that almost feels as though they can't get away from it. The second one is somebody that is absorbing the energy from people around them, especially if that person has a tendency to be more sensitive, um, more empathic, more intuitive. They oftentimes will absorb that energy and feel that density, but not know how to relate to it, what it represents, and how to fix it. And then the third thing is that you are, for people that are feeling that, is that you're disconnected from your own connection, your own spirit, your own uh, center. And when you're not grounded in yourself, when you're not um, connected to your spirit, when you're not in alignment with your heart, everything feels like it's happening to you. Everything just feels like it's happening to you. And in that, there's a big victim mentality. But what the truth is that I would want you to know is that your energy is yours and your body is yours and your mind is yours and your space is yours. And when you come back into connection with yourself and into your power and into the knowing of your power, you begin to pull more of your energy in and stop giving so much energy out. So you're not taking everybody else's energy. And so I think one of the things that now happens is that, okay, we've had these circumstances, we've had these situations where we're feeling like either somebody has suggested that we have a curse or an attachment, or there's an energy vampire or something like that. And if you think about all of these, friends, every single one of those is fear based. And every single one of them is affected because we're not standing in the energy of love, of light, of alignment with our truth. Now, I do want to say, I get that this can be scary. I understand that it is a real experience for people. It's not something that they're making up in their head or they're pretending. It feels that way. But it feels that way because the fear is activating it so deeply. Now, this is not to say that there aren't people who have absorbed negative energy or who have even um, connected with lower vibrational frequencies. That does happen. I've experienced it myself. And most of the time, that has been when I have been in circumstances and situations and around people that are in a very dark, heavy place. And I don't mean that in a judgmental way. This is not in a critical way of this person is dark and heavy, but let's say that they are in depths of addiction. Let's say that you go into an environment where there's a lot of heaviness and darkness, and you are a sensitive person, you feel the energy of uh, those around you and the environment around you, and not being conscious or aware of holding your own energy, you walk in and you suck up all that energy and you walk out, and then all of a sudden you feel heavy, or you feel irritated, or you feel angry, or you feel pissed off, or you feel um, disconnected or grumpy or down. Well, that is what a lot of people would call an attachment. It isn't necessarily a being like a lot of people think of it. It's not necessarily a being. What it is it's a vibrational frequency that you have now taken on. And you take it on unconsciously. You're not like, "Oh, let me go in and suck up all the crappy energy in this room or in this bar or in this place." But you do because you're sensitive, because you're an absorber, because you don't know how to be an observer, not an absorber. And so I want to give you a few um, practical ways that you can start to shift the energy, move forward with the energy, redirect the energy, and more importantly, just even take your power back from that energy. All right. Because I think that all of you have that ability. I think everyone has that ability, but you have to practice it and you have to know that there's something you can do. You are not a victim. And energetically, again, you have more power than you give yourself credit for. So let's bring this into real life, because I think, that's what soul talks about, is where spirit meets real life. And because understanding this, just this one thing, is helping you to, instead of just understand it, help you to live it in a way that begins to shift the way you see things and the way you act and your level of responsibility in your energy field, because you have a responsibility in your energy field, like it or not. We don't get to blame everybody else. We have to be responsible for our own energy. I know that's hard. I didn't like it when I learned it, and it's true. So I'm going to give you a couple practices. So the first one is awareness. You have to be aware. Start to notice your patterns without judging them, without trying to even fix them, just noticing. When do you notice that you feel heavy? When do you notice that you feel drained? Um, where do you have a tendency to talk yourself out of the intuitive feeling that you have? Is it around a particular person, in particular situations, in particular groups of people or environments? Just become aware. Awareness is where your power begins, because you cannot shift what you are not willing to see or that you don't even know, because you're not aware. So awareness is the first thing. The second thing is learning how to call your energy back. So we can talk all day about the fact that we lost our energy to this person or this person or this person, but then what do we do about it? Well, we've got to call our energy back. And it's a simple thing, but it's a powerful thing, because oftentimes you go through your day and by noon, you've already lost 50% of your energy and you're not even aware of it. Like taking your energy back, taking your power back throughout your day, especially if you're someone who tends to get overwhelmed or you feel scattered and you kind of feel like your energy is all over the place, is just first do this with me. Just take a pause with a nice deep breath. Okay. And then either say out loud or in your mind or visualize, I call my energy back to me now. I call my energy back to me now. So if you just gave a lot of energy to somebody, if you just sat and listened to something and you feel crappy about it afterwards, if you got really angry and you put a whole bunch of energy into the circumstance that didn't do you any good, you get to call your energy back. You might visualize that as a color, which I have a whole process around that. Maybe I'll do a video on that this weekend. Um, there's a whole process you can do. But if you don't have that or you don't know how to do that yet, because I will share that, then at a minimum, just say it out loud. Just say it out loud. I call my energy back to me now. And notice what happens in your body. You will notice a difference. You might feel a little more energy or breath come back into your chest. Um, you might feel like you're more in the present moment. You might feel more calm, more settled, more relaxed. You you don't have to force anything. You just say it. That in and of itself is an acknowledgement, and that acknowledgement goes a long way. The third thing I want you to pay attention to, and this is really a big one, friends, because when you feel disconnected, or you feel like you've given your energy or your power away, whether that's because you feel like you're a victim to a certain circumstance or situation, you can be victimized and not be a victim, or whether you have absorbed the energy, or whether you do feel like you have a curse or you have an attachment. When you feel disconnected, um, it isn't because you've lost your intuition. Your intuition is always there. It's always connected. If you haven't been paying attention to it, it doesn't mean it's not there. It just means you're not there. But what this does mean is that you've stopped listening to it. So you have a feeling like my friend had that said, no, I don't need to go to that place. And instead of listening to herself, she talked herself out of it because her friend wanted to go, right? Or you get that nudge that says, this isn't the best place for me, or I should leave now. And you ignore it for whatever reason, right? Doesn't really matter what the reason is outside of the fact that you ignored it. And so I want you instead to just start to practice when something feels off, stop. You don't need to know why. You don't need to explain it. Just take a pause, listen, and honor it. And that will help you begin to 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 build or rebuild trust with yourself, because you may not even have trust with yourself right now. The next one is start to clear your energy each day. Um, and not because you have to, because in the big scheme of things, it isn't something that's required of you. It's something that you need so that you know you have something you can do. For some people, they don't believe that anybody has power or control over them, so they may not need to do this. But if you do and you've had some of these experiences, then it would be a good thing for you to do. So energy is meant to move. It comes in and it goes out. It's always supposed to move. And if it doesn't move, that means it's building up. And so we want to create just simple ways to help that energy move. And it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be complicated. It could be, um, it could be taking a shower. And then as you feel that water move over your body, you're just clearing your energy. I'm just clearing my energy. You could step outside into the sunshine and breathe in a couple nice, beautiful, deep breaths in under the sun. And that could be clearing your energy. You could move your body for 3 or 4 minutes, and that could clear your energy. You could say a prayer. You could do a visualization. You could hold a crystal. You could walk, you could stretch, you could shake it out. Any of those will work to help you to just clear your energy. It's like a system reset. You do not have to carry everything from all day all the way through your day. That can really be helpful. The other one is ground yourself, ground your body. When you feel like something's off, if you're feeling that density that you might call or somebody else might call like an attachment, one of the most important things you can do is get present back in your body. Get your feet on the ground, take a breath, put your hand on your heart, breathe, pull yourself into present moment. Feel Mother Earth supporting you physically. A lot of what feels overwhelming really softens and becomes more observable when you're in your body. And a lot of times you're so in your head or just completely just out of the body. One of the other things that you can do is choose one thing, just one, that you want to change, right? Just change one thing. Maybe you're going to respond differently in a particular way. Maybe you're going to create a boundary that helps you to hold your energy. Maybe you're going to do an intentional prayer every morning. Maybe you're going to call in Archangel Michael, my favorite, to help you to maintain your energy every day. When you start to make one little shift, that's how the patterns that are intentional patterns start to shift. And that's when you begin to see you choosing you. And it doesn't happen all at once. It's one at a time. Okay? One choice at a time is how we make changes. And then the last one is just be gentle with yourself. If you've been feeling heavy, if the energy is feeling stuck in your body, if you're doubting yourself or questioning your purpose, just as a reminder that you're learning and you're growing and you're becoming aware. And if you're somebody that said, I've already done this, I've already been here, I've already gone through that, what I want to encourage you and remind you of is that we are always growing in various layers and levels, kind of like an onion, right? You all have heard that. And in that process of learning and growing at different times in our lives, we're going to come back to this. I kind of think of it as a spiral. We're going to come back to a circumstance. We're going to see it from a higher perspective because we are expanding and we are up leveling. And so each time we get to that place, we're going to see it from a different perspective. So it isn't that we don't want to have, um, uh, it isn't that we didn't learn or that we didn't grow or that we didn't have awareness or experiences. It's that we're at another level and we can see it from a different perspective if you're willing to do that work. And it's not always easy work. I do understand that. All right, friends. So before we move into our heart to hearts, which if you've got some questions, get your questions ready because I'm coming to you. All right. I want to personally invite you to something that I'm super excited about that's next week. If you've been feeling um, drained or overwhelmed or feeling like you're carrying a lot, then maybe you're not relying enough on your spirit team. So I'm doing a free live webinar next, I think it's Tuesday, the 7th, where you can meet your spirit team. So it's on April 7th at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And we're going to dive in deeper into recognizing and understanding how to access your spirit team, your spiritual support, how to recognize the guidance, how to start stepping into that trust and that faith of that connection so that you can believe in your intuition, how to stop carrying everything on your own. This is what I'm always working on. And, we're not meant to do life on our own, and we don't have to. We have an entire team, and I would really love for you to join us and learn about that. So if you are interested in coming and joining, then I want to that's the wrong one. Don't do that one. This one. Then you go to schooloflight.biz right there, schooloflight.biz/webinar. The link will also be in the show notes that you can get right there. And it will be about an hour and a half or so. And I'm going to help you possibly even learn who your guardian angel and or your master guide's name is. So schooloflight.biz/webinar to get registered. It's free and you can absolutely come and join us. And we're very excited to offer that to everyone. So feel free to share it with other friends that you think might appreciate it as well. All right, friends. So we're going to dive in and get started on our heart to heart with Sunny. We move into this is one of my favorite parts of our podcast, where each week we bring into conversation real questions. They can be questions about this conversation, or they can be questions about anything, real experiences, real growth. And I'm opening it up to you. So let's get our song on first.
Got a question on your mind, bring it to the light. Every heart has a story, we can talk it through tonight.
It's time for Heart to Heart with Sunny. So this is an opportunity for you to ask your questions right here live if you are joining me live. Every Tuesday at noon Pacific time is when we are doing this live. You can join us live on YouTube, or you can come right into the studio and ask your question there. I always get questions in advance, so you can always go and put your questions in the and send them to me so that we can answer your questions in advance. And also, you have the opportunity to ask your question right here live. So let me get started with a couple of questions that have come in around that have come in previously, and then I will go to your live questions as well. So here's one of the questions that I got just recently, and that this one actually fits really well partially with what we were talking about. I feel drained all the time, especially after being around certain people. How do I protect my energy without shutting people out? Okay. So how do we protect our energy without shutting people out? So this is a great question, and it's one that I think is challenging specifically because of the languaging around it. And so when we think about protection, and that's like keeping everybody out, right? And if you are sensitive, if you take on the energy of other people, if you feel like you absorb energy, which could be why you might feel when you get connected to the word curse or attachments or entities that are attached to you. Um, it can be because you're absorbing that energy. And so a lot of us were trained to protect ourselves, protect our energy. And in protecting our energy, that's keeping everything out. It's keeping people out, right? Well, what I've learned over lots of years is that it's not my job, and I'm actually not in control of everybody outside of me. I can't keep all of you out. What I have to do is learn how to hold my own energy. I just need to keep my energy in. So just seeing the difference, those of you that are on a visual screen to be able to see, keeping everybody out looks like this. Holding my energy in looks like this. That's a big difference. And it shifts the energy very quickly, just recognizing I'm responsible for my energy. I can't control everyone else, but I can control, consciously choose the energy that I'm going to be in. And this is how we start to do that. So when you ask the question about protecting your energy and feeling drained all the time, you are absorbing the energy of other people, not observing the energy of other people. And I want you to feel that. Like, I hope you feel that in your body. If you're watching right now, can you feel that difference? Absorbing versus observing. Throw me a heart if you can feel that. And the same with protecting, keeping energy out versus maintaining, holding my energy in. That's the difference. So for me, it's working with Archangel Michael, inviting Archangel Michael to come and be with me each and every day to help me to maintain my energy so I don't absorb the energy of other people. Seen or unseen, energy of other vibrations, frequencies, environments. I just don't want to take on anybody else's energy. I want my energy I want to hold my own energy. And that is one of the ways that you can do that. Okay. So I'm going to go to one more question I got in. And then, friends, if you are live right now, go ahead and put your question in there. If you are watching or listening to this podcast, you can put your question in there. I answer all of the comments. So you can put your question in there as well. And I would love to see them. So the next question that I have on here is I want to feel supported and guided, but most of the time I feel like I'm doing life completely on my own. I have no support and I feel very alone. Is there a way to change that? I don't read these in advance, so give me 1 second. What I learned when I first started connecting and communicating with the angels was that we're never alone. And the times that I felt alone were really actually times where I had stepped away from my intuition, my connection to my spirit team. So the first thing I would say is if you are feeling that way, the webinar next week would be really helpful for you. I think it would give you some insight and some recognition and some understanding. So I want to invite you to come and join me there. I think that the other thing to recognize is because we are a spirit in a body and we focus on the physical people as being alone, but we're a spirit first. And so we have our connection to the spirit world, your loved ones that have passed on, your angels, your guides, your ascended masters. Like there's a whole huge team that is there to support you. But if you don't know it and you don't feel connected to it, then you can't access it in the same way. So learning more, putting yourself in a position to connect in greater ways, and to learn more, read books, take classes, listen to podcasts, come and join my free webinar. Any of these things can help you to start to recognize we're actually never alone. And I think it's something that takes a little bit of time to sink in because we're so focused on the physical and we pay attention to the physical environment, the people that are around us. We don't necessarily pay attention to the spirit around us. And that never leaves, never leaves. And if you know that, it can still be hard on the days when you're kind of in your stinking thinking place, right? So no more stinking thinking, and opening yourself up to seeing it from a different perspective. Come and join the webinar. I think that would really help you. All right, let's go to some questions in the chat. And I'm gonna yell out some of your names. I see all you beautiful souls. Thank you for joining. I love it. And I'm gonna find some of the questions that you all have in here. And please throw them in the chat as well. And I just discovered on YouTube, somebody on my live. I did a live on Sunday. Gave me a super chat. Do you guys know what super chats are? This is a new thing. I didn't know anything about it, but a super chat. And so they loved the episode. And so they gave me some money for this episode. And I was like, holy cow, I didn't even know that was a thing. So first off, I'm very grateful for that because that's super fun. And obviously, these podcasts are just, we don't get paid for these podcasts, but if you get value out of the podcast, please subscribe, like, share. If you want to be a super fan or super fund or however you do that thing, that's great. That was a fun surprise. But I really want to encourage you to share this episode, especially if you know somebody who tends to be afraid of the spirit world. I have a lot of clients that come in that way, and they have heard so many things, and they don't know what to believe. And so my intention in creating this episode was really to give an answer to that person. So I hope that you'll share it and spread the word, spread the light if you feel guided. Okay, let's see. When I'm sitting, Luann, when I am needing guidance, I sit and listen and write what I hear. Archangel Michael is usually who I communicate with. How do I open up more? Okay, that's beautiful. I love that you sit and listen, because that's what we do the least of is we keep our head busy and we think and we think and we think, and we don't create space to just be like open. I think the most important thing, Archangel Michael is great to go to. I think the most important thing is to ask for the help. Ask for the clarity, ask for the support that we don't ask enough. When I was writing my book, Invoking the Archangels, the angels gave me a 4-step process to heal your heart. And the first one, number one, was ask. It was ask, allow, believe, receive. Ask, allow, believe, receive. So I think that's exactly what you need to do. I did write a book, Luann, about connecting with, let me see if I have it here. Yeah, building your relationship with Archangel Michael. So it's called Archangel Michael Maintaining Your Energy, a 33-day guidebook. This might be helpful for you because it's like a journal. So there's questions and intentions to connect with every day. And so it just helps develop that. And if you like to write, Luann, then that could be valuable for you. Okay, let's see. Today's podcast was absolutely great. Thank you, Rita. Hey, Kathy and Shelly and Aubrey. Great to see you guys live. Brandy, I gave my power away to a doctor and diagnosis and reclaimed my energy through your teachings. So grateful for the awareness and the tools. Yes, that's one of the ways we do it, right? Is that density that we're feeling activates so much fear that then we believe what the people around us tell us, even if something feels off about it. And sometimes that's doctors, sometimes that's somebody in authority, an authority figure. Sometimes it's a teacher, and sometimes it's uh, um, unfortunately, sometimes it's somebody like me. And not me, but somebody like me, meaning having a title, like a psychic title. Please, guys, listen to your intuition over and above everything else, always. Okay, I saw another question. What about psychic connection that two people have? I have a friend that lives in another town, yet I absolutely know when something is going on with her, good or bad. I tried to block it, but couldn't. So when you have that, there for sure, certain people just have stronger connections than other people. Sometimes you meet somebody and you're like, you just feel connected to them immediately. And sometimes you meet somebody and you're like, not connected to them at all, right? So there's like this soul connection. Usually that's because there's something to learn, an opportunity to grow or expand, or something to share, something to teach, right? There's a great poem called A Reason, a Season, or a Lifetime. And I think that plays into, and sometimes it's just a season, but when you have that connection, listen to it. You're learning and you're growing your intuitive abilities, and that person is part of the journey for that expansion, for that growth. Let's see. I think there was one more question. I'm looking to say, how do you super chat? Rita, I haven't done it before, but what it said was if you're in the live chat in YouTube, at the bottom underneath where you type your stuff, or at the above where you type your stuff, there's like a little money symbol or something. I've never done it before, so I didn't even know it was a thing you could do until Sunday when I saw it. And so you can click on that, and then you can donate like $1 to hundreds of dollars. And the reality of it is that's a very cool thing. And you know why it's a cool thing? Because these podcasts are they for sure take time and energy and resources and things like that. And so it was so fun. It was so fun to see that. So I'm not sure exactly how you do it, but you guys go find it and let me know, because I actually do not know. Okay. Calling in Archangel Michael is life-changing. Absolutely it is, Helen. Thank you for this today. You are welcome, Shelley. All right. How do you respond to someone who is scared of the spirit world, or scared they have dark energy with them or around them? So, Aubrey, first thing I would say is share this episode with them. Like, literally, this could be what helps them gain some clarity and release some fear. And it's exactly why I'm doing it. One of my members of my team actually suggested this topic last week in our team meeting. And I was like, yes, that is a very good idea, because so many people have fear around the spirit world. And a lot of that was ingrained into them either by training when they were younger, or they had an intuitive or spiritual experience that they didn't understand at a time and an age and a place where they didn't understand it and they didn't have any tools to understand it or people to ask about it. And so it scared them. And then they just wanted to shut it down and disconnect. That's very common as well. And I get that because it's been something that so many people around me have experienced. See, I didn't have that when I started seeing angels and connecting with angels. It felt so loving, and I felt so safe that. And I think that was because I didn't have any training from my family that said that it was bad or wrong, and so it was safe for me to trust it. And so we have to relearn, we have to retrain, um, we have to re-experience that. And if they're open and they're willing to listen to something like this, that could help them. Reading some different books, and I think the more knowledge is power, right? That's what I think. Knowledge is power, and so if you have more knowledge, then you are going to believe in your power in a greater way. And so I think that could be really helpful for them, for those. Thank you, Aubrey. That's a really great question. Um, Oh, Rita says she found it. Awesome. Thank you, Rita. I don't know again how it works, but I'm super excited. So welcome, Jersey Trend. Good to see you. All right, friends. So, hey, I love to, at the end of our episodes, give you a little soul work. And so soul work, kind of like homework, get it? Is I want you just to notice your energy and notice where you tend to feel heavy or where you tend to give your power away, and just observe it. Don't judge it. Don't criticize it. Just have the awareness around it. If you want to come back to today's episode and share what you became aware of, share it. Because I think when we have awareness, that's where everything begins. That's where the door opens up. That's where change happens. And so I would love for you to begin there. And if you feel called, share your soul work in the comments. All right. Okay, friends, if this episode resonated with you, please make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Your support helps us to reach more people. And obviously, that is the goal, is to reach more people. And certainly, if you want to join us for the webinar, that will answer some of these questions too, Aubrey, that you had asked about if people are afraid. The webinar could be a great opportunity to help people to understand what the energy is and how to be able to um, connect with it and not feel afraid. Because one of the things that's great about the webinar is there's a Q&A, and so people can ask questions, and I'm happy to answer and support those questions as well. All right, friends, as we come to a close for today, I want to share a couple of things. First, I want to share that what I've decided to do is I'm going to be doing a weekend. Um, uh, it's not going to be a podcast episode, but every weekend I'm going to share weekend wisdom. And it's just going to be called Weekend Wisdom with Sunny. And it's just sharing something that I recognized, learned, became aware of, am working on. People kept asking me about, like, I'm just going to share some kind of little nuggets every weekend. So you will see those on YouTube, and they're going to be anytime. So they'll just be, if you're a subscriber and you've put your notifications on, then you'll get a note or a message that I'm going live. So I'm going to be doing those on YouTube. They'll be shared on the weekend. And that way there's kind of a little middle ground, because I've had a lot of people say that once a week isn't enough. And I kind of agree. I didn't want to do like a complete podcast in the same way that we do it. And so I just wanted to do something that's a little bit more casual. And so the Weekend Wisdom with Sunny will be every weekend, but that could be on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Who knows? That gives me some freedom and some flexibility, and I can do it from anywhere. So I would love to invite you to come and join me for those. We just posted our first one on the channel, on the YouTube channel, and I think you guys will enjoy it. It was really a powerful weekend, and so I want to invite you to go check that out. Also, I want to thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being willing to take an hour out of your time. I know that, time is one of the most important forms of energy that we have. And you taking an hour out of your time to watch this, whether you're watching it live or you're watching it um, on the recording. You taking that time is an honor to me, and I appreciate your time. Um, and I thank you for choosing awareness. We've talked about awareness a lot today. It's the way that things shift, it's the way that we change. I am here every Tuesday at noon Pacific time, same place for Soul Talk, the podcast. And again, if this episode supported you, please share it. And remember, friends, when we allow our divinity to guide our humanity, love becomes something that we live every single day. And I hope you know you're not alone. I love you. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time. Have a great one. Thanks everybody for joining. Kimberly, Angel Raven, Luann, Jersey Trend, Helen, Susan, Carla, Aubrey, Rita, Janice, Shelly, Brandy, Alan, Kimberly, Carla. You guys are beautiful. Thank you guys so much for all your love and support. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Christina.
So self-service. That's the way. Welcome to Soul Talk. Shine today.